Hello, Internet! Welcome to Two and a Half Brains. This is our weekly discussion of Survivor Season 44, Episode 10. We're talking all about it, break it all down. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. You can like our Facebook page, Pavement Road Prod on Facebook. Email the show directly, pavementroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe right then to the YouTube channel. Share the post, tell your friends. We're going to talk all about it. We're going to talk about the latest episodes, so be sure to subscribe, and we'll get it all out to you here. We'll talk about the 3 moments that matter. We'll talk about who did not survive this week. We'll talk about the bottom player of the week, the rest of the cast, and the top player of the week as well. And we'll go ahead and dive on in here, and we'll get started. So, let's say be sure to subscribe, and we will get this out to you. Try to get out, like I said, pretty much right after the episode every week. This week is a day or two after, but like I said, we're going to keep trying to record it, and every week give you our feedback. We're continuing to have some technical difficulties here this week. We kind of had some last week. We overcame it. We definitely need to upgrade some of our equipment here, which we'll do, I guess, in the off season. But for right now, Jessica can't join us because of our technical problems we've been having. She schedule just won't align with that. So it'll be just me tonight on the recording. I apologize for that. But like I said, subscribe and we'll get it out, everything out to you. As soon as we can. Hopefully we won't have any more technical problems once we upgrade our equipment, hopefully this week or at least after the season's over. So we're going to talk about 3 moments that matter this week. We'll talk about moment number 1, which is Franny wins again. So Franny's been on fire, just dominating, and she wins the challenge again. This one is the reward challenge, and it's an interesting challenge. She pulled it off, and it was it's spinning around and then going across the balance beam and landing a ball on top of a structure, and so she did a good job on that, and she won the challenge and got to go to the sanctuary with pick a couple people, and and of course you get the letters from home as well. It's kind of like the the old family visit. Obviously they don't do family visit anymore because of they haven't done it since COVID, which is what it is, I guess, but. They used to do it, and it used to, it's a challenge that you kind of don't want to win. Jeff even mentioned it. I was like, this is kind of a challenge you don't want to win, because you win and, people are going to be mad at you for not taking them, right? So then you want to be the person who is taking, not the person who takes somebody. I mean, ask, Brenda Lowe, and it's happened a few times. It's, you win, you have a chance to take somebody, but it annoys them or pisses them off that you didn't take them and now they put you out or something. I remember when it happened with Dawn and season 26, Brenda wins, and they're like, okay, Brenda, you have the option to you and Dawn can each get a second loved one, or you can give everybody else a chance to have 2 loved ones. And Dawn was not thrilled that she didn't get that. Brenda decided, obviously it was Brenda's choice, and Brenda decided that it was going to be, she was going to give the love to everybody else to make the most people happy, but really annoyed Dawn, and Dawn voted her out for it. Obviously, I said if I'm Franny in that case, what I do is I say, hey, I'll pick one person, one that everybody can agree on, like a Carolyn, like she did, and then when Jeff says, all right, pick one more, I would have given that option to Carolyn and said, Carolyn, you can pick because I can't decide or whatever, and let Carolyn get the blood in her hands and piss people off, and so you don't have to do it. So that's what I would have done in that regard. But either way, so that's what happened with moment number 1, that is, with Franny keep winning. And then also, of course, she keeps winning. She won 2 immunities now, a reward, and she keeps putting herself out there and making herself a bigger target. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here in a few minutes. The moment that matters number 2 is Jamie's confession. Now, obviously, Jamie, we saw last week that she gave Kane her idol. Kane actually walked out with her idol. He got out with it in his pocket. And it was fake idol anyways, so didn't really make much of a difference, but it was a fake idol. So Jamie decided this week to tell everybody, hey, I know you guys were targeting me over the idol, but I want to let you know the idol's gone. Kane walked out with it in his pocket. Obviously, he went to tribal council and said it. Kane couldn't say anything because he's on the jury. He couldn't confirm or deny her story. Lauren wasn't there because Lauren was on the reward when she said it. So Lauren couldn't say, yeah, I gave her my extra vote to use, and she gave Kane the idol to hold on to because they're afraid of the knowledge of power. So nobody believed her. So then when the people came back from the reward, she told all them, and they didn't get a chance to talk and confer stories, and nobody believed her there neither. So and it's a fake idol. So pretty much as bad as you could have played that, Jamie played it. She played it pretty much as bad. People were it's like you want to. If you think she thought people believed her, and so they believed her that the idol was gone, but they didn't believe her that the idol was gone. So now, not only do they not believe that the idol was gone, she just put that back in their heads, right? She put the idea back in them. Wait, Jamie has an idol. We should vote her out. You want to kind of sneak away and hide, and so she was trying to lower her threat level by saying, "Yeah, I don't have an idol anymore," but all it did was remind her that she had an idol, and it's fake, and it was fake, and she doesn't know that. But the whole time she's like, she basically is trying to lower her threat level by talking about the fact that she did at one point have an idol, and so that's making it's just keeping that seed planted in everybody's heads. That's not a good spot for her. Not something she should do by any means. So it was interesting. Like I said, and not only like I could have seen like if everybody talked and Carson's like, hey, she's gonna give you some BS story about her idol going out the door. They didn't have a chance to do that. They just came back. She told them, "Hey, Alice, my idol's gone," and they together as a group, I guess all individually, I should say, they all individually didn't believe her, which is interesting. It's she tried to be honest and play a straight up game, and they're like, "Wow, she's sneaky." I guess they figured that she wouldn't be that honest and bad at the game to tell. They were assuming she wasn't playing the game, so then she told them something that they thought was a lie, but it's actually true. But it confirms that she's not playing the game at all, not thinking of the game in a very strategic manner, but made them think that she is, which is actually worse, right? Like they thought she was doing nothing. They found out that she's actually not. She actually is doing nothing, but it seems like she's doing something, which makes her a target. It's basically the worst of both worlds that you could possibly have. And she doesn't have an idol, which she didn't anyways because it was fake. So all this over a fake idol. All this drama over a fake idol that doesn't even exist. Very interesting. But so that's moment that matter number 2. Moment that matter number 3 is alliances dissolve. So in this case, all the different alliances, it was pretty much it was orange versus green with purple in the middle, and basically they lost. It was 4-3 in terms of 4 greens, 3 purple, 3 orange, and the greens and the oranges were feuding. But now it's down to 2, 2, and 3, and actually purple has the most. Purple has the majority of 3. And I think it was Carson who said it. At the tribal council, he goes, there's a lot of things that you can. There's only a few things you can bank on in Survivor. One of them, in this case, was that Danny and Lauren weren't going to work together. Except now they are, and that's kind of a shocker. That's kind of maybe the biggest player of green left, and the biggest player of orange left, who are feuding the entire season, are not working together. And and you kind of have to, right? Because you can, like, if you're in the majority, if you're in the swing position, the one thing you want is you want everybody to argue, everybody to fight, and not work together. And not check each other's work, right? That's how Boston Rob won the season, right? And Boston Rob won the season by saying, "Hey, you two, if you go talk to anybody on that side, we're voting you out." And somebody did, so they voted him out, and set the example of this is not, we're not going to take this, we're not going to listen, you're not going to do that. We're going to vote you out if you go against the family, definitely the mob boss type of thing, and so that was the strategy, and. That if you're the person who's controlling the game, that's what you want. You don't want the two sides talking. You want to be able to, even Carson's like, hey, Kane was coming after you. He said it to Heidi or Jamie or whoever, Lauren, whoever it was, and so I think it was Heidi, and he told her, Kane was coming after you, so I had to we had to take him out, and she's like, oh, I had no idea that Kane was coming after me, and Carson's like, I can blame someone who's not here to defend themselves. That's good, but you keep the two sides feuding. They're too busy firing at each other. You can just duck underneath it until they take each other out, and there's no way left to take you out. But but in this case, the alliances are definitely faded. You know, Danny was probably closest with Franny, and now he just turned on her. You know, and it's yes, it's saving himself. Yes, it's but when there's a line drawn in the sand, the less solid that is, the worse it is for the people in charge, right? So basically, if you're back to the Boston Rob example, right? It's like it's Ometepe versus Apatera, right? And or whoever it was, I think that's what it was. This side is voting against that side, and they're going to go back and forth, and that's it. There used to be 8-on-8 or 9-on-9 or 10-on-10, and then if one side got the majority, they just pick the other side off because there's no reason for somebody to flip because they don't have a relationship with anybody on that side. Now they try to intermingle as much as they can. There's six, 3 tribes of 6, so if one side has 6 left, the other ones they merge at 12 is still 3 and 3. They can still take that side out. So it makes it more cross pollination and that kind of stuff. So more people have more incentive to flip and work with other sides. So it's not just right down the line picking one off after another. If in Boston Rob's season, he had them feuding with the other side, and they weren't looking at him as the biggest threat. And what ideally what should have happened is a couple people from his tribe should have gone over to the other side and say, hey, I know I don't know you that well, but we got to take out Rob. And if they would have done that, one of them would have won the game, obviously, and Rob would have got voted out. But they didn't. They were too busy fighting with each other, fighting with the other side. It's us against them, us against them, us against them, and they believed that all the way down to the end. And by that time, it was too late to stop them. So, in this case, the alliances faded. The strong. We have to have. People beating the drum. We have to get rid of this side. We have to get rid of that side. And getting rid of Brandon maybe was the biggest mistake that Purple could have made because Brandon was very much let's stick to our allies. And he may have gone down with his ship. But now that there's more flexibility because people aren't as solid in their alliances. Alliances are fading, and it opens up more opportunity for people to get to work together. And now the Purples are in the majority. They're 3 against the other 2 who each have 2. Now at the end of it, there's 7 left, but they're still not the plurality, right? They're the majority, but not the plurality, right? Because they have 3 people, and the other sides both have 2 each. But if those 2 each work together, it's 4-on-3. So you really want to keep the sides feuding with each other, so they're not looking at you. And you can get behind them and take them all out when it's at the end. And so for the Purple side, that's something that they definitely did not want to have happen, is for the green and the orange to drop their blood feud and start working together. That's kind of what happened this week. So a slight change of plans here. Obviously, we were having some technical problems, so we weren't sure if Jessica would be able to join us. But we got to the point of who did not survive, and Jessica just had to join this part because we're going to talk about one of the more controversial players we've had in a while. Some people, who look at the Facebook page, some people loved her, some people hated her. Jessica was definitely more in the latter camp. But Jessica, who did not survive this week?
Franny,
yes. And what did she do wrong?
Should I be mean?
Whatever you want to do, Jessica. It's your world is your oyster.
I mean, I said existed, but
Yeah.
She was in a showman's. She won a lot of immunity challenges. Bailey agrees with me. She was a pain in the butt. I mean, she won rewards.
He is too right now, but that's okay.
Yeah, he's been real. That's why I'm drinking right now, and so long farewell to Franny. Put a target on her back with people in the tribe. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you're right though. I mean, she was in a showman's, which you can't hide once you're in a showman's. I mean, even if your showman's partners vote out, you really still can't hide. She won 3 challenges, 2 immunities. I
also didn't mention she was going on kind of a revenge tour after Matt was eliminated.
Yeah.
And then was fine with it, and then kind of was talking to people, and didn't really build too many alliances really after that. If she's
gonna do a revenge tour, you gotta do the Natalie Anderson style revenge tour, the Kill Bill revenge tour. Her original season. Her and Jeremy were very close. Her and Jeremy ended up taking out the the leader of the other alliance, and then, then they flip around on Jeremy, take Jeremy out, and she was right, exactly, and she was really really mad about it. So what she did is she actually joined up with people who took out Jeremy, and then one by one took them out, and cut them, and it was too late for them to do anything, and it was definitely a revenge tour for her, and she got the last laugh. So that's maybe what Franny could have done, but it was very kind of half-hearted. She won a couple challenges. She was out there. It was a threat. You can't really become not a threat after that point, and they wanted her gone, and they took the shot at her. She lost the challenge, and they took her out. It was a thing where she was out in front. She could have spent more time on her social game if she wasn't always out with Matt, right? She could have built longer lasting, better relationships if she wasn't always hanging out with Matt.
Yep.
But she always hang out with Matt.
Yep, making googly eyes across the crowded, room of
The
jury and all that, and her focus wasn't there when he was around, pretty much.
Right, and not for nothing. I don't know if it was even a factor, but the fact that she had a guaranteed jury vote made her a threat too. So definitely was a threat. Definitely was a player who was doing well. She had a decent social game, but again, could have really solidified some relationships earlier in the game if she wasn't too busy hanging out with Matt and being in a showman. So.
In their future, even though they both lost.
Right, planning the future. Even though they met, they had known each other for like 2 days at that point, and they're planning what they're gonna do when they get out of the game. It's like, yeah. And again, good for them.
They better stay together after this damn show.
Well, correct. They both lost out on $1 million. They both cost each other $1 million. So you really kind of should stay together. At least get something out of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what Franny did wrong, and that's why Franny lost this week. And again, it was one of those things where it's like it was one of those things where she was just there was too much. She was too much of a threat with too much runway left. I feel like there's too much going on. She had too many, she was too out in the open, too exposed, if you will, with too much runway left. She wasn't gonna be able to hide the whole way. If she really wanted gone underneath, maybe, but she couldn't go. She couldn't go on the radar with everything that she had been doing, right? With the winning all the challenges, with the showmans, with just being omnipresent. It was you couldn't if Matt would have gone out pre-merge and was on a jury, maybe she has a better shot.
Maybe.
But definitely not. It definitely didn't happen for her.
Maybe she'll want a cat and a dog after that show, too. Reach out.
Yeah. Message us.
Oh
So let's go ahead and talk about the bottom player this week, who did the worst this week. And this one was a little bit debatable. We went back and forth on it a little bit, but I think we both agreed that the worst player. And by what was Franny at as far as her score, her numbers, when she got put out?
A negatory 2.
Yeah, and I said it seems like there's like one or two people who are really far out in the positive, one who's really far out in the negative, and the rest are pretty much within 1 or 2. Which kind of seems to be that way, the way the game usually ends up going at the end of it. So, bottom player this week, it's two thumbs down, 2 negatives for being the bottom player of the week. And that player this week is...
Jamie,
yeah, why?
Well, she lost her immunity idol, which wasn't actual an immunity idol, and when she tried to tell everybody that she no longer had that immunity idol, nobody believed her, as we said earlier. Yeah. And, hasn't really done much. Existed.
Yeah, she hasn't done much, and then when she does something, it's bad. Mm-hmm. She's been, pretty irrelevant, not doing a whole heck of a lot in the game, and then when she does something in the game, she confesses to losing her idol, which wasn't a real idol anyways. Nobody believes her, they think she's lying, so she's trying to lower her threat level by saying she doesn't have an idol, but actually makes it worse.
Yeah.
So, go back doing nothing. You're better off that doing nothing. Yeah. People thought you weren't a factor in the game, and it turns out you aren't, but I think you are because you made yourself less of a threat by making yourself more of a threat.
Right.
You tried to make yourself less of a threat, but you made yourself more of a threat by trying to make yourself less of a threat because you weren't doing anything. Now you're doing something, and they think you're still, and it's awful. Just awful.
Waffle?
Yes, for sure. What's she at for the...
Not a Choco Taco?
No. Not unfortunately. No. Not yet.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes, and I think of Mayo.
Yeah, exactly.
And look out for Revenge of the 6th. Anyways,
yes.
So what's Jamie at?
She is at a negatory 9.
Yeah, so she's the one on the far end of the negative spectrum.
Correct.
Speaking of which, who is next on our of the rest of the cast? We go through the rest of the cast. Thumbs up, thumbs down for the rest of them. Who's next?
Carolyn.
Carolyn. What did Carolyn get this week?
Negatory.
Negative. Yeah. So
She lost her sugar.
you could say.
She lost her shit
Yeah.
because they wanted to vote Franny out.
Yeah, and it's
Very
obviously
emotional.
yeah. Obviously the reward challenge, Franny took it with her, and that really solidified their relationship. They became tight, and that certainly is good for for Franny. But Carolyn, she's. I said last week she was the best player last week. She knows what's going on. She's making she has made the best feel of what's actually happening in the game. She has decent bonds. She's starting to open up and get decent bonds with everybody. And then she goes and makes a super emotional decision. And it's like just get out of your own way. Like that's maybe that's why she's doing well. I don't know because people aren't taking her seriously and they're not going to get rid of her. But like it's just just stay out of your own way. She has an idol. Nobody's really coming for her. She's got a good finger on the pulse. She's playing a pretty smart game. Then she does something super emotional. Like, again, Franny keeps her in the game. Franny takes her on the reward. And it was easy to call for Franny. She's like, this lady's been talking about her kid. She needs a letter from her kid that's going to make her like me.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And Carolyn should have thought beyond that, right? She's like, I don't want to get rid of Franny. I don't like Danny. I like Franny. Let's get rid of Danny and keep Franny. It's like, but that's just why. Like, give me more than just I don't like him. Or I like her. Give me more. And
Sometimes that's all you need.
I guess, and it has worked in the past. I'm not gonna say it hasn't, but I don't know. I just think it's dumb.
Yeah. DUM. Dumb.
Yeah, and so Carolyn now gets a negative, and she's maybe has the best game or is thinking the best about the game, whatever. But then she does something super emotional. I want to get rid of Danny because I don't like him. I want to keep Franny because I like her. Well, she's like, I might even lose to Franny if I like her. Well, that's stupid. Franny's not going to keep you because she likes you.
Yeah, it's true.
So thumbs down for Carolyn. She was almost the bottom play of the week. If Jamie didn't implode on herself, it would have been Carolyn.
Yeah.
What's Carolyn got this week?
She is at an even Steven.
Yeah, even? Wow.
Yep, even.
How about that?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
All right, so who's next?
Carson. He is at a positive this week.
Positive this week. Okay, why?
He is with the vote. He won individual immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been playing a pretty good game overall. He's got good relationships with pretty much everybody.
And Coke whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty good relationships with pretty much everybody. All those things. And he just, I think here's the thing. He kind of got this vote again to go the way he wanted it. And things were kind of changing and shifting. He kind of, kept it on track. But one thing he needs to really do now, I think he's going to be gone next week if he doesn't do one thing. So he needs to go back in time to when this actually filmed and make sure he does this thing so he doesn't get voted out. What he needs to do is put Carolyn in control of the next vote. Whatever she wants, she gets next vote. Because he's losing that alliance. Obviously, there's the purple have now the majority, if not the plurality, right? So they can vote out the purple. The four left can vote the purple. The two green and two orange can just vote out the three purple and be done. What he needs to do is he needs to put Carolyn out front. Like, Carolyn, you're in charge. I know, because she's been wanting to get rid of Danny for a while, and they haven't done it. They haven't given her that. So that's a problem. And it's definitely something that he could definitely go out of the game. Again, when you have the person who's kind of the wild card, like the Shambo, right? Shambo on season 19. Her alliance was, kind of, she was with them because she started on the same tribe with them, and they were, they never really took her opinion seriously. She was just kind of always there, and they figured she always would be there. But somebody else came along and said, "Hey, Shambo, who do you want gone?" And she said, "I want this person gone. I want them gone, blah, blah, blah." And they said, "Okay, fine."
Just like that.
Just like that.
This person gone.
Yeah, and even kind of like when on Tony's first season, when Sarah was a swing vote, and the whole time they're like, Sarah's like, I'm gonna make the decision who goes home, blah, 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 I'm in charge, I'm the president.
I just want fun.
Sure, yeah. And so And so they're all like, okay, so Sarah was kind of like, playing both sides a little bit. And they went to Cass and said, Cass, who do you want gone? She goes, I want to get rid of Sarah because Sarah's annoying. And so they said, okay, fine. Cass, you vote with us. We'll get rid of Sarah. And it's like the person who's kind of the uncomfortable, and it's the name of the game, is figuring out who is the person on the bottom and bring them to you. Pulling them away from the other side, bringing them to you. And that's, Carolyn is kind of, she's been wanting Danny. She's been pounding the table on Danny. And they haven't given her Danny. So eventually she's going to go rogue and either join with Danny and take somebody else out or flip on her side because they don't trust her. They don't take her word.
All right, Jim, you don't want to get Danny out? I'll get you out instead.
Right, or Carson.
Yep.
And I think that Carson is in trouble because she could say, I'm sick of Carson not listening to me. And everybody's like, Carson's running this game. He's been telling me the same thing. He's been going back and forth, and he's been having good relationships with everybody. And so I think Carson's in big trouble if he doesn't, like, you want to stay in the game, Carson. Take the, do what Adam did really well in his season. He would take a shot and then he would duck. He'd fire a shot and then duck, and ride behind the scenes for a couple votes.
As he reloaded.
Right, absolutely. And he let somebody else take control for like 2 votes. The problem with so many Survivor players, they get a taste of power, or politicians, they get a taste of power and never want to give it up. Right? They get a taste of power and never want to give it up. Right? And that's it is. I said before, like, with the Danny and Lauren thing, like, so many times, like in our society, even, it's like if you can say that your own side was wrong, if you can sacrifice someone on your own side, you can advance together because you have that common bond, right? You have that common enemy, even, right? When Danny said, "I want to get rid of I'll get rid of Franny," that brought in Lauren because Lauren's like, "Yeah, I don't want to go next. So if we can agree that somebody else should go, I'll work with you." That's kind of the same idea.
Right.
And so in Carson's case here, you took a shot, you got rid of, a threat in Franny. Now you're probably the biggest threat. So you got to deflect. You've got to deflect now. You've got to say, Carolyn, I'm sorry. Franny was going to keep winning. Who do you want gone? I promise we'll do it this time. I promise it's your call. You take the shot this time. It's your call.
You can just lie and tell her that Franny was staying to get her out instead.
Yeah, I don't know if she'll buy that, but either way, say, okay, I know we had to, blah, blah, I'm sorry we hurt you. Who do you want? It's your call. I will rally everybody. Jam and myself will rally everybody to get out whoever you want. And you've got to do that. You've got to appease Carolyn this time because if not, she'll flip on you and you'll be gone. Right. So Carson's he's done a good job, but if he doesn't manage this next vote very well, he'll be gone.
Right.
He's a threat. And you've got to put something else in front of you now. You've got to let Carolyn, and if they're gonna be mad, if they basically take a shot at Danny and it doesn't work, who are they gonna blow back on? It's got to blow back on Carolyn, not on Carson. That's what he's got to have happen.
Right.
He's got to be like, it's got to be like, tell Danny, yeah, Carolyn doesn't like you. She wants to vote you out. And then Danny can try to, start an insurrection against Carolyn. And Carolyn has idols they don't know about, but whatever. So it still probably won't work. But that's the point. So that's what he's got to do. He did a good job this week, but if he doesn't manage it well right next week, he can be in big, big trouble. Mm-hmm. That being said, what's he at right now?
He is at a +9.
Yeah, +9. Yes,
yep.
He's doing great. He's in the best spot. Plus and minus so far.
Right.
Who's next?
Lauren.
What's Lauren get this week?
Positive.
Positive. Yeah. Why?
She's making new alliances. She's working with Danny, and was on the right side of the vote, and is probably in a better spot than she was last week.
Yeah, and again, she was basically the next one to go. So the fact that she's like, okay, I'm with, she mended that relationship with Danny. She pulled in, two people who weren't supposed to work together at all are now working together, and that helps. So that's what she's got to do. She's got to keep working that alliance, and hopefully for her sake, she can keep it going. But obviously, it was a much better week for her this week, and again, when the alliances dissolve, the different pieces can come together. You wouldn't really expect them to work together, but they did, and that's huge for both their games going forward. And that gives her a positive, and puts her at what?
She is at a -3.
-3. Yep. So she's again right around again. Not great, not terrible.
Yes.
Could pretty much go the way she's been fluctuating pretty well. Mm-hmm. Kind of like Carolyn's bipolar attitude, up and down. Carolyn's what? She's even, isn't she?
Carolyn's even.
Yeah, she's been up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Wild swings. Just go figure.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Jam Jam.
What Jam Jam got this week?
Negative.
Why?
He didn't really do anything this week because he had no revenge tour to get rid of anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, if your whole game is getting rid of people who voted for you, that's not building alliances. That's not building long-term bonds, right? I mean, he's close with Carson and like that, and everybody thinks he's funny and nice and whatever. But he was really mad about. I guess you say he got revenge on Franny for taking him on the reward. I guess because he was mad at her for that. I guess, but
we'll hear about it next week if it was.
yeah, because she didn't take on the reward and he wanted to get a letter from his husband and whatever. But the bottom line is, he didn't do much this week. And again, he's supposed to be like, he shouldn't let Carolyn become closer with Carson than with him. He if especially they get down to the final 4, final 3, he's got to have Carolyn with him because if Carolyn wants to switch to somebody else, he's the one who's screwed. He really has no. I mean, if he thinks his number one is Carson, he's wrong. Right? Because Carson can go anywhere. Yeah, and Carson might want to work with Jam Jam the most, but he also has other options where Jam Jam really doesn't.
Right.
So that's why he's negative this week.
Right.
And if you especially lose Carolyn next week, he's really screwed.
Yeah.
So what does that give you to Jam Jam?
-1.
-1. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Next is
Danny.
Danny, what does he get?
Negatory.
Yeah, why?
Because he told Heidi about the plan for Franny and said, we don't need your vote, but I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. We don't need your vote.
Yeah. It was, again, it might have been edited, a little bit out of context, whatever, but the bottom line is it was not a good look.
Said, we don't need your vote, though.
Yeah.
You can't say that wasn't what he said.
Right. It was exactly what he said. It was not smart. Not smart at all. No. Yeah, regardless of what, whatever he meant by whatever, the fact is, he got the person out of the game he wanted. He was a target. He got off himself and onto somebody else. They bring up his name and want to get rid of him, and all those things. And he, made an alliance with Lauren that maybe he, wasn't planning on making, and all those things. Heidi stuck by him. I feel like Heidi's number one. Heidi Kennedy is number one, and she stuck by him and didn't flip on him when she had the opportunity when she was with all those girls. But that being said, the mistake Danny made, which is a big mistake, something you can't do, is telling his alliance, we don't need your vote. Like we're doing this with or without you. Like that's not something you do. Like that's like something you do to make an enemy a friend.
Yeah, you don't say that to any woman.
Right. Well, especially right. That's especially not. And in this game, if you have somebody who you're trying to throw your weight around and get them to side with you, you can tell them, hey, this is the way the vote's going. Get on board, because they're not your equal. But if someone's supposed to be your equal in this game, you don't do that. Right? And so, what he could have said is, hey, Heidi, I know you might not feel comfortable voting for Franny. I think we have the numbers. So if you don't want to do that, I understand. You don't have to. But that's not what he said. Right?
We don't need you.
You're right. You never want to say to your ally, we don't need your vote. Because she could say, okay, well, you don't have it next time then. Yeah. Right? Not smart. He did really well this week. He got things fixed. But that going a little too hard attitude can be what cost him the game, and very well might. He's been doing well on that, though. What's he at for total?
He is at a +7.
Yeah. So he's doing well, but not he was all set to get positive, maybe the player of the week if he didn't have that one misstep with Heidi. That was a big misstep.
It was a big mistake.
Big mistake. I like steaks.
Yeah, me too.
Is Elaine Stott said her season. It's the big steaks, but I like steaks. Nom 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 nom.
Okay.
You remember her?
Oh yeah, I like Elaine.
Yeah, who didn't?
Yeah.
Who didn't?
Nom nom. Cookie nom 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 nom.
Exactly, Cookie Monster.
Yes.
Perfect. Speaking of Heidi, who's this week's player of the week?
Heidi,
why?
Well, she's got an idol that nobody knows about.
Yep.
She's on the right side of the vote.
Yep.
And I forgot the third thing.
I mean, that's pretty much it. Her and Danny are still pretty close, but she also had the option to flip over with the girls. And again, she has an idol that nobody knows about. I feel like they kind of came for her a little bit, which they had 2 votes on her, and because I think it was Carolyn and Franny who voted for her, and then maybe Jamie voted for Danny, or maybe Dan. I don't know.
I think Franny voted for Danny.
Or maybe Carolyn voted for Danny.
Yeah.
Either way, there was 2 votes on Heidi, and I think Heidi's still in a pretty good spot though, because I think what they're gonna do is, even though because she survived this vote, I don't think, and to get rid of Franny, I think this makes the most sense to get rid of. Again, anything can happen. I think it makes the most sense, though, to get rid of another big threat next. So that'd be Carson, or that could be Danny, or if they think Jamie, is lying with the idol thing, they could go for Jamie. But then that also means that you get rid of that person, maybe one of, you get rid of two of those three next, let's say. Danny, Carson, Jamie in some order. Because that's what makes the most sense because of the quote-unquote biggest threats, right? You take them out next, and now we're down to the final 5. She has her idol to get the final 4, then it's in fire. So I think if she survives this vote, there's gonna be enough people who are targets that she can use her idol at 5, get the 4, and then she's in the end. I think
she's in the 3-2-1.
Right. I think exactly. I think she has the most clear path to the end. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Well, does she have the best shot to win? Not necessarily. And will she necessarily get there? Not for sure. But she also, again, her name came up and she held on the idol, which was smart. She didn't. She didn't need to play it and she didn't waste it.
Right.
So she knew she had a good read on what was happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's why she's the play of the week. Again, I think she has the clearest path to the end because she's not like the biggest threat. I think they're gonna come for somebody on that side. I think they're gonna go for Danny or they're gonna go for Carson.
I don't even know if anybody really thinks Carson's a big threat yet. So.
Maybe not. But I think if they start talking to each other, like all the alliances are talking, maybe his name comes up.
Right.
But I think they go for Jamie or they go for Danny, and then they go for the other one, and then she's at final 5 anyways.
Yeah.
And then she has another one, she's at final 4. So I think and then it's fire, and then who knows. So I think she has the clearest path at the end, and not for anything, but that's certainly a way to go. She could certainly get to the end, and we've learned anybody can win. So, she's got maybe the clearest path of anybody to the end, by just keeping one or two threats ahead of her, and then by that point it'll be too late to get rid of her. And then the question will be, did she do enough to win? So definitely the clearest path. Yeah. So we'll see.
Our vacuum's vacuuming right now. The clearest path.
Yes. What is she at, by the way? Do we have her thing? I know we looked at it. What's she at?
+3 now.
+3 now. Yeah. So again, a lot of people. Everybody's between 3 and 0, except for Danny, who's +7 or whatever, 6, and Carson's +8.
Well, not everybody. There's a bunch of negatives out there.
No, I mean between -3 and +3.
Okay.
Everybody's in that range, and then there's two on the end of the positive, one on the end of the negative. Everybody else is pretty much in the middle. That kind of seems to be how it kind of goes. But play of the week this week, Heidi hasn't really done a whole heck of a lot this season, but has been around some of the stuff. And in this case, she did enough to be our top player.
Yep.
Anything else, Jessica?
Hell no.
It's been a very long, chaotic couple of days. So thank you for joining us here as you got the opportunity.
You're lucky.
Hopefully you can come back next week, and hopefully we record the day after and get our recording schedule back on track and not have any more technical problems.
Maybe.
That would be just grand. Be sure to subscribe to Miss Anything. You can like our Facebook page, facebook.com/paymentroadprod. You can email the show directly, paymentroadproductions@gmail.com. Subscribe right there on the YouTube channel. Share the post, tell your friends. We'll be back next week with episode 11 of season 44. 44 divided by 11 is 4, which is fun. And may the 4th be with you.
And also with you.
And watch out for Revenge of the 6th.
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Until next time, anything else, Jessica?
Safe travels. No.
All right, great. Well, I got nothing else for you either, because the tribe has spoken.